fire, 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 fire.
Yeah. Alright, what is this? He didn't want this public. This mistake cost David everything. That's that guy we watched a documentary on, remember, chat?
This massive mistake just cost David everything, as he's now a suspect in this awful tragedy. And I don't know how, but somehow this case just keeps on getting so much worse. As it's now been a couple months since the singer went into hiding in the middle of his tour after a body of a girl linked to him was found in an abandoned Tesla by his home, leading people to find out the chilling potential clues left by David online for years. And honestly, I mean, this story has been impossible to avoid for the last couple of months because it just keeps on getting more and more sinister. So I'm gonna give you a content warning here. And originally, I wanted to wait to upload this video until we had an arrest, or at least something. But as the weeks went on and even months went on, we still have no arrest. And I think if anything,
this is what blows my mind. I mean, again, I know you have to gather evidence. You can't just like prosecute someone immediately and throw them in jail. But like, what is going on, man? Like, is this really not that suspect?
Are more confused now than ever, but he was finally just made a suspect. And at this point, I feel like the internet is kind of looking at the detectives like they're Internet Explorer or something, working on dial-up internet. So today I thought we'd break down what we know and the updates to this entire situation. So first and foremost, the horrible news first broke on September 9th when employees at a Hollywood impound lot noticed a foul smell coming from what seemed to be an abandoned Tesla. When police arrived and searched the vehicle, they unfortunately found the remains of a 15-year-old girl who was later identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And the Tesla was quickly discovered to be registered to the singer David, who was actually on his North American leg of his tour at the time.
They canceled his tour too when they found out about the body.
And at first, everyone assumed it was this like terrible tragic coincidence. But as more details came out and more people looked into everything from David's posts to his music videos and I guess his whole digital footprint, things started to get pretty creepy. And obviously, before we cover this, legal disclaimer here, I am not accusing David of anything. We're just objectively looking at all of the information that has been gathered by the internet. So first and foremost, who is David, or David Anthony Burke? He found his way to fame by creating his own music for his Fortnite edits to avoid—
I thought his fucking Discord messages about how much he loved like looking at gore and how much he loved like looking at shock content was kind of a dead giveaway for me personally. Again, that's not evidence, but like it shows like a pattern of behavior.
Copyright strikes, which is relatable for a whole lot of creators because anyone who uploads to youtube.com quickly realizes if you don't own the music or have the license to use that music, you're going to get claimed very quickly. But this turned into a blessing for him because he started putting out a bunch of music on SoundCloud and other social media platforms, and eventually having one of his songs titled Romantic Homicide go viral on TikTok in 2022.
A little bit foreshadowing. We call this in the business foreshadowing.
And I mean, just by the title of the song, there's some similarities here between this and YNW Melly, because it's very unfortunate that, you know, he may be a suspect in a homicide case now with his hit song being Romantic Homicide. Obviously, the big difference here is Melly was found guilty, but he had a hit song called On My Mind, which is very unfortunate when you're on trial for a double homicide. But, you know, back to the topic, the title of his hit song, Romantic Homicide, is quite chilling when you consider what's currently going on. Plus, the video was posted the day of Celeste's birthday. You know, that's not the only—
That is insane. I do think there's such things as coincidences, but I don't know, that's fucking freaky.
Only eerie coincidence here. But the online success of his music led him to being signed to Interscope Records, and a couple months later released his second single, Here With Me. David continued to grow and got huge opportunities like opening for SZA on tour and creating music for TV shows like Invincible and Arcane, which is insane if you think about it, because the guy is only 20 years old and he's already accomplished this much. And it seemed like
like mainstream shows picked him up. I don't know, man. There's some schizos that believe that allegedly, if he did kill her, I don't know if he did or not, just putting that out there. You know, sacrifices are real in like Hollywood, they say, like in like schizo theories. Yeah, they like believe in that stuff and they think like, oh, well, you know, you have to sacrifice someone in order to like get the real fame.
Everything was going well for him on the surface, but it turns out there was potentially a dark secret hiding behind everything. Or maybe it was just out in the open, but no one noticed it. Because 8 days after the news of the body being discovered broke, it was announced the remains had been identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a girl who had been missing since April 5th, 2024. And at the time, she was only 13 years old. And what made things even wilder was she had a tattoo on her finger that apparently matched the one that David has as well. And her mother reported that she was dating someone named David, but she had never met him. So suddenly, there were a lot more signs.
Parents not involved, parents never meeting the boyfriend, kind of weird.
Pointing to David than anyone originally thought. So the internet sleuths started coming through Discord messages, live streams, tweets, and even his lyrics, looking for more evidence of their alleged connections.
I love this guy's music shames a weirdo. It's unfortunate because there are a lot of people that make great, awesome music and they're super creative. But you know, I just I don't know, man. There's a correlation with being mentally ill and being very creative.
And it's safe to say,
even
they
if you
found
don't
a
like his
whole lot.
music,
Because apart from the already mentioned song
that.
title, Romantic Homicide, which was coupled with a equally concerning music video where he ends the life of a girl who suspiciously looks a whole lot like Celeste while singing the lyrics like, in the back of my mind,
man.
I killed you and I didn't even regret it. I don't know how much more blatant it can get than that.
That's what I'm saying. He's
it's
openly flaunting it. Maybe he has like a fetish for it.
still a coincidence, but there's still a whole lot of other concerning stuff that might have happened to Celeste in his music and his digital footprint in general. Because just another video titled One More Dance, where the premise is literally another murder where the
car and they stuff her in the trunk.
Body is stuffed in the trunk of a car. So, you know, I guess she was stuffed in a frunk rather than a trunk, so that's the only difference here. But again, that girl in that music video looks a whole lot like Celeste. And that led everyone to
You could argue that's his type, but like still.
question, is he essentially trying to like confess without confessing and get away with parading potential evidence around right in front of everyone's eyes? I don't know. Nobody knows yet. But like I said though, it wasn't just his music. You had old screenshots from Discord and Reddit started popping up that seemed to make it obvious that David's community was at least aware of this inclination towards
I'm so serious, bro. Girls my age are retarded.
Underage girls, as well as his
He was like 17 and he was dating a 14-year-old or something, right? Yeah, totally. Oof.
connection to Celeste.
Well, difference between like 17 and 16 isn't much, but like when you go from 17 and you're going on 18 and she's 14, that's weird.
And this seems to be the Celeste that we're talking about today. And here there were chats with David and a user named Celeste in a Discord server where they're clearly flirting and claiming they were expecting a baby. So yeah, again, this is just so confusing. And this is on a semi-public Discord server. And then you also had other Discord users who seemed to confidently tell people that David and Celeste were dating. But of course, it keeps getting worse because there are a few messages from people in the server actually calling him out for allegedly having
and then the deleted user is apparently that girl that was dead now,
part
allegedly.
in Celeste's disappearance and trying to solicit young girls in general. So it seems like there were a few people in his community trying to get this information out long before Celeste's body was found. Like, take these Reddit posts, for example. There were clearly people calling him out for this. And it's also interesting to note the similarities between the details, like using the initial C, and the girl being from Lake Elsinore, just like Celeste. It just added to the mounting pile of things that did not make David look great in the slightest. And it's also crazy that at the time, people were dismissing this as gossip and actually attacking the original posters for feeding witch hunts. Because
that's because he was popular, and like obviously if you have like an attachment to a person, you're gonna defend them. If I suddenly got accused of doing something really horrific, I think a lot of people would defend me until more evidence came out. Like, they didn't have any solid evidence at the time. I don't blame them. Obviously, that's how a fan base works.
Now, it seems like there's a good chance he was connected to this very young girl in some capacity at least, even if he had absolutely nothing to do with the crime. So naturally, tweet after tweet went viral exposing future potential clues that made David look more and more guilty. Old unreleased songs titled Celeste and even clips from the 2024 live stream where a girl who was said to be Celeste calls him out for being weird, for being with an underage girl, and I guess referring to herself.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Nah.
Oh my, delete everything. Delete everything. Everything
A
goes.
little Freudian slip. Hello.
Everything goes. Mods, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as it's streaming, delete the stream too.
And at this point, the general public had started to change their opinion on David and what level of involvement he may or may not have had. Friends of David came out to say they had assumed that she was 19 when they first met her because they were at age-restricted events. But police did confirm she did have fake IDs. So I mean, hey, this could be true. They might have actually not known. But he ended up canceling the rest of his tour when the body was identified, which honestly makes sense regardless of the involvement because, you know, people are going to show up wanting to confront you. And there were a lot of people who were already outraged at the lack of action by law enforcement in regards to arresting David. Obviously, there's an investigation happening behind the scenes, and we still to this day have no idea what's actually happening now. But there have been a few videos from Law and Crime Network uploaded over the past few weeks featuring a private investigator who was hired by the owners of the home David was renting. He said that the homeowners hired him because they felt in the dark in regards to the search conducted on their property and what items of theirs could have been possibly been seized during it. But they also—
Man, the police are working slow. What do you mean you had to hire a PA and what is it called? A private investigator, PI? In order to like figure this out, that your house that you Airbnb'd is like being used by a potential killer?
also wanted to do their own due diligence and supply the police with any additional information they were able to find. And it seems like this private investigator did in fact find a few interesting things. Things like the alleged identity of the last person to drive the Tesla and to park it on the street where it was eventually towed.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla?
As far as what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
Now, obviously, he doesn't disclose this information, but he's saying confidently that he knows who parked that Tesla, which is a potentially huge piece to this case. He also states that through social media, people in David's orbit began to come out of the woodwork to supply him with photo and video evidence, with him finding photos showing Celeste alive on January 2nd, 2025, months after she was last spotted on surveillance cameras running away from home.
A tremendous amount of people have come to me, and I've learned a lot. Now, a lot of it's circumstantial, right? But there are people that are directly in his orbit, and there are people that have a lot of photos and videos from inside the home itself. So we can put people at certain dates and times at the house, and there's a lot of them. It's in the thousands. I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
So allegedly, there's proof that she was with David. But
January 2025. It is almost over. Like, how long is this going to take? Like,
again, he has to be vague due to the nature of this investigation right now. But he also hints to more evidence that might make David look even more guilty. But obviously, it's hard to know what this could be. It could be anything from like lyrics to emails to actually interviewing people who knew him.
There are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence, that there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons, I can't.
A good point that got brought up that I didn't even know about was the fact that there was only one key to this house, and someone was in the house, with the Tesla being parked nearby while David began his tour. And if this ends up being the same person as who parked the Tesla, it's looking like we have someone who might know what really happened to Celeste.
There's only one key to that house, and
they're
who
gonna
had
talk,
that, and who had
chat?
access to it, and who was in it, because who had that key is probably the same person
I
that,
bet you was multiple people involved.
had access to the Tesla.
But the private investigator also gave us some pretty helpful clarification in regards to the stage of the investigation, since it all started to seem like nothing was happening at all, and that David may have actually been cleared as a suspect. Like, take this tweet from, what was it, October 3rd, that links to this article here that made it kind of seem like David had potentially been exonerated based on its awkward wording. But what the article actually says is the police haven't been able to confirm if her passing was a result of foul play or something like an overdose. So currently, the authorities are reportedly not seeking a person of interest or suspect at this point of the investigation.
To be clear, okay, David Anthony Burke has not been officially implicated in any crime, any wrongdoing. He's not been—
They found a chick that was emaciated in someone's car and they're not implicating anyone?
charged. He's not been named a suspect, not a person of interest. Obviously, his connection is through the car and these reports that he had some sort of relationship with Celeste.
And the private investigator confirmed this, saying that, you know, currently they still need to confirm what crime actually happened before anyone can start pointing fingers here.
I saw a headline saying, you know, they've confirmed that it's not a murder, not homicide. That's not what they said. They said they're just standing on their previous statement. You know, listen, a crime definitely occurred, and they even say—
whoever's in charge of this is, I'm so deeply disappointed disappointed.
that at least concealment of the body.
So at the minimum, it's a concealment of a body. But if the toxicology report comes back that her passing was a result of an overdose, it is no longer a murder investigation, instead just about the crimes that were committed as a result of an overdose.
They're still
Yeah, because that implies that they hid the body because they realized that she died, which is still really, really bad. They might have not done it on purpose, but still. But then you also have to know if they maybe did it on purpose. They overdosed her on purpose. You never know.
relying on what's going to
You
come
need to like look at Discord messages, text messages, like
back from the medical examiner's office, since there's
been 11
not
months.
a
I
determination
know,
there,
that's
at
why
least
it's kinda
publicly.
blowing
What
my
is like
mind.
definitely concerning about this though is there's a chance that this only ends up being a misdemeanor for the people involved, since apparently concealing evidence, even a body, is technically only a misdemeanor in California.
If someone just
Bro, California is so cooked. It's a misdemeanor to conceal a body? Dude, Cali, man. There's so many laws like there that just make no sense.
move Celeste's body, possibly under California law, that may be just a misdemeanor. There's a law that says every person who, having knowledge of an accidental death, actively conceals or attempts to conceal that death shall be guilty of a misdemeanor.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You
Misdemeanor.
can willfully conceal and suppress evidence and destroy evidence
fucking
to hide it
retarded. I'm
from
not gonna lie.
investigators and family and everybody else, and it's still a misdemeanor.
Who would have known? Currently, it seems like the police aren't even showing their hands. I'm sure they still have way more information than the general public and an idea of what actually happened. But it won't be shared with us until they know for a fact that Celeste's life was taken by someone.
I
Almost
think
a
if they
year,
got
they still
a
haven't
good
figured it out.
toxicologist,
I
let's say
don't know,
came back and
I'm
it was
losing
clearly an
faith.
overdose of some sort, yeah, there would have been some sort of indication by now, and that could be, then initial charges could be dropped. I don't know why initial charges couldn't be dropped now, even if they have the stack on top of them, because I know that they'll probably say, well, he's cooperating. If it's been 2 months and you haven't got the answer yet, is he really cooperating? So probably not. He's
Yeah.
probably, well, the counsel's telling him not to, and what's the difference if he's
Hey,
Mirandized
buddy,
or
can we
not?
look
You
at
know?
your
So
phone? Can
this
we look at your
definitely doesn't mean
Discord?
that he got
Have they
off
even subpoenaed his Discord messages?
like people were claiming. Plus, it was reported that the authorities conducted an overnight raid
hate
on a
justice
Hollywood
sometimes.
Hills
It's so
house linked to
slow,
David
man.
as a part of this investigation. And the detectives were seen taking a computer and several other items from the home. So, if there is anything to find, most likely they have a whole lot more than just some Discord messages. But there's still no shortage of accusations and speculation being thrown around online, just adding to the media frenzy and muddying the details. Like this clip of some live streamer that claims to show David's bodyguard admitting that he was involved in whatever happened while he was drunk. And it's very clear that he did not know he was on a live stream here.
Listen, did you hear about the David case?
The lat in the back trunk.
He was the bodyguard for him.
I helped him bury her.
He was
It's
the-
crazy.
Oh!
Are you retarded? Actually, don't answer that. I mean, probably.
What the?
Are you
But I mean, after watching that
kidding me?
video, it just seems like it's engagement bait. Like, I don't
Yeah, but you
actually
shouldn't
think this
say
is a real
that.
thing.
That can
And the
get
streamer
you
who did this is Cuffham, and I
involved.
honestly don't think he's above getting someone random to just, say this so we can have
Take
some
the
viral
fall?
clips.
I don't
But
know.
anyway, like I said, no matter what, this is just a terrible tragedy. You have a 15-year-old girl who lost her life, and obviously she is not here to tell her story. And people have been scummy enough to try and shift some blame onto her. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think victim blaming her is the right thing to do whatsoever. But
No, it's
David
not.
hired the
She's a
best of the best when it
child,
comes to
too.
defense
Oh
lawyers,
my God.
Blair Burke, the woman who represented Harvey Weinstein. And many people are saying this alone is pointing that he could be guilty. Like, getting the best of the best could mean that you need the best of the best, but also if he's innocent here, it also makes sense to get the best of the best. So who knows what's going on?
How
And then
does
you have
he
a bunch of
connections
people
to the
online who are
best of the
actually
best? That's the real
attacking Burke
question.
online as well, just for agreeing to represent him. But along with the cancellations of the rest of his world tour, David's sponsors Hollister and Crocs dropped him literally days after he was announced as the face of their new collaboration. Additionally, all promotion of
Yeah,
his
that
music was
sucks.
pulled by UMG and Interscope. The dude lost everything just about as fast as he gained.
Even if it wasn't him that did it, that even if he's not the person that did it, the people around him are joking about it, like his bodyguard and shit. You deserve getting your sponsors pulled. You shouldn't be hanging around people like that, to be honest.
And until he's officially ruled not guilty, people are of course going to be scrutinizing his every move. But on
Yeah,
top of that, the internet
rightfully.
is also accusing David of moderating his own subreddit, only to allegedly delete critical posts of him amidst this whole investigation into Celeste's death. So apparently, because David was listed as the sole moderator of his account, users accused him of trying to control the narrative and portray himself in a more positive light. But hours later, the subreddit was locked. And then to make things even worse for him now, according to TMZ, an investigator confirmed that he's now a suspect. So at this very moment,
Good.
it definitely does not look
When was that? Oh, it doesn't have a date.
suspect. So at this very moment, it definitely does not look good for David or his actions online. And what's also kind of shocking is there's still no information that's came out about what actually happened to Celeste.
You know, I'll just be honest, we really don't know. Nobody has stepped forward, even wanting to be anonymous off the record, and said, you know, listen, I know what happened. So it's very bizarre that there's this many people involved that have stayed this quiet for this long, especially like when they're young, and it's like they're all lawyered up.
And as of recording this video, that's about all we know. But I'll update you guys when something big in this investigation happens, so subscribe if you're new, drop a like if you enjoyed this breakdown, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.
Peace. Peace. I don't know. I think the police need to get a fucking move on. Also, lawyer super sus. Do I just have a lawyer in my back pocket that's, you know, part of Harvey Weinstein's shit? Nah, that's not sus at all. That doesn't make you like, it's a little bit sussy-wussy. Hey guys, I got O.J. Simpson's lawyer on my team. I don't know, kind of sus.
Fire, 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 fire.